What's going on, yo? It's Jason Reviews here, back at it again with another video. And as you see by the title, we are doing the Fonz Book'em today. My series Book'em on this channel is where I decide some of the 3 to 5 best next matchups for a battler, depending on an event they have coming up, or in light of a result like we're doing for this one. And in light of the Danny Myers battle, Fonz's SM debut, I just think Fonz is an extremely interesting talent. I think he's the second best out of the UM1 class, very talented class of battlers, right behind Easy to Block captain, and I think he is going to be a top tier in this game, as well as a perennial Gnome and SM appearances, multiple top tier matchups in his future. But obviously, with the Danny battle coming up, that was a big determiner for if Fonz is ready for the next step matchup-wise, being booked like a top tier. And some would say, including myself, that he came up short. I think that his performance against other top tiers has always been something I've questioned, just in terms of if he's ready to take that step at this moment. I think there is no question Fonz is going to be top tier solidified, but it's a matter of, is it a year away? Do we still need time for him to work on certain things, not just on the big stage, but in terms of material, overusing some angles against some top tiers, some other things that we could go on. But I wanted to say that I still think he needs top tier looks. I still want chances for him, maybe in some smaller rooms and settings, and maybe some more obscure matchups people haven't thought of yet. So we're going to go over the 5 matchups that I think are best next for Fonz. So at the number 5 spot, I have another guy who is trying to prove himself, take that next step into top tier, and I have Jackboy Main. Now, the battle Fonz versus Jackboy Main on paper doesn't make maybe that much sense to you guys hearing it right now, and I want to say that from 5 to 1 is going to be more top tier realistic, what I think his next battle is going to be, and 5 right now, 4 and 5 might be battles that I just personally, more abstract, but I think should be given a shot. But as for Jackboy, I mean, they're both fighting for their top tier respect. Jackboy obviously had his return run last year, most improved player, going against the most improved battler, most improved player, beating T-Top, which was a very good win for him. The Saga win, which was good, obviously had Lupus attacks that hurt him versus Luke Castro. And then into this year, it's been a pretty down year for Jackboy, I think, coming out of his 2021. Lost clear after beating Chess in a one-rounder, which was a very big bright spot. He lost clearly to First Lady Flames, his woman, on Kings vs. Queens 3. There's the excuse, it's my girl, whatever, but this was your big stage shot. This is obviously the time they were willing to push you into a big card again. You can't really take that card off. Then he has battled recently versus Tink the Demon, which was not that good of a battle. I believe I had Jackboy edging it 2-1, but I did not enjoy that footage. And as for Fonz, I think that he's had a much better 2022, but with the Danny battle not really going great, I think that right now would be a great time for him to kind of keep punching against comp like Tink that he battled, like Luke Castro. He was doing amazing there, and he was finding himself, learning his skills. Real sick, I think, was another great performance. And I just want to see some more, put him in the lab against another guy who's trying to earn his respect. You could get Hunger versus Hunger with a matchup like this. Obviously, Jackboy's called out they both actually called out K-Shine. Fonz called him out after he won UM1, and Jackboy has wanted him recently. I think these are 2 really big-time names in terms of guys right on that, upper mid-tier, low top tier precipice. And I think that a battle like this could be great for both of them. If it's good footage for both of them, they could both, gain from it, or one could knock the other off, and you would start minusing pieces off the board. If a K-Shine is deciding who he's going to battle next, maybe now he takes a Fonz into consideration compared to a Jackboy. Just my opinion, and that's why I have Jackboy at 5 for one of the best matchups for Fonz. And right from there, we're going to go right into number 4, and at number 4, I think Fonz versus Myron would be a great matchup. So like I said, the 4 and 5 spots are going to be battles that I don't know if they're going to happen, but I would love to see them happen. And obviously the URL RBE situation is in effect here, where we don't know if we could get a middle ground where Fonz and Mac could battle. I think the Riot would be a great place. They've both done business with the Riot, just did on the Cane Bearing gifts card. And obviously, Mac has called out Fonz a lot, said Fonz is trash, and this would be more of a puncher versus puncher matchup, which I would like to see Fonz, have a good showing in. I think him versus Av was, you know, he did good, but he lost. I think versus Danny, he didn't do very good, and he lost in a not very good battle. Versus JC, I thought he lost, it did decent. And I just don't think he's quite ready for Rum Nitty yet. I know people were talking about that. You're not going to see that battle on this list. I don't think. I've said it a lot of times, so I don't want to go into the reasons again, but I don't think he's quite ready for that. And Mac just makes sense. They're both extremely entertaining, both funny too, and both are capable of landing a lot of haymakers. Puncher versus puncher battles usually are very good. I've talked about that on this channel. And I just think that there's already a little bit of a grudge match there, so the booking would make sense for it. It would be a great first battle for Mac, possibly back on URL. And it just has the capabilities of being a great punch fest, and everyone loves a great punch fest. So I have so far Fonz versus Jackboy and Fonz versus Mac Myron as great matchups I'd like to see from him. So going into the top 3 matchups, and these are the kind of top tier looks that I think are next best for Fonz. Not to say that the guys before aren't fire battlers, but I just think that, like I said, they're obscure, could happen on different leagues, things of that nature, and I just found them interesting. But as for these top 3, at number 3, I have Shotgun Shug. Now, this battle has become a little less unrealistic, but not because of leagues or anything like that, just because Shotgun Shug has been that good lately. I should have another Shug video coming out. I just did one, you know, praising him for his stumbles performance. I also praised him recently in my last video for his chess performance. And there's just so much going on with Shug that he is in talks for the easy to block captain battle, for the A-verbs. Even Hollow Dodon has thrown a shot at him. So as for Fonz having a bad performance on SM as opposed to Shug having probably the best performance, all things considered, or one of the best performances, all things considered. I just don't know when this will be booked, but I still want to see it. Fonz and Shug obviously went back and forth a lot. I think Shug would still be open to doing the battle. Maybe Fonz just has to do another battle, get back on track to make it make more sense. But bully versus bully type of matchup, Shug is obviously the original bully in this rap. I think Fonz uses his size well too, bump Danny around a little bit. But aside from that, there's a lot of real talk here where I think Fonz is capable of angle punching, getting into his real talk bag. I think we saw that a lot in the UM1 tournament. And then the dust mite bar that he had was incredible versus Jay Kruger. And then on the flip side, you have Shug, who's completely revamped himself. Real talk is at an all-time high. His pen is probably the best it ever has been. Has lost some weight, you know what I'm saying? Congrats to him. So you see the breathing control. The pacing is just way better. Flow pockets. This is a revamped Shotgun Shug that would have a great battle with the Fonz. And I think that punchers and pens sometimes have given Shug some issues in the past. We look at battles like the Rum Nitties, the JCs, and not to say this one would take place in a smaller room. I think that it would be advantage Shug the bigger the room is, but Shug's looking dominant, small room and big stage, and I think Fonz might be material-wise one of the better opponents he's faced. I think Chess writes well too, but Chess obviously didn't really get any bars out. No slight to Shug's performance, but I think Fonz is another guy that has good pen power. And we're going to see, can this revamped Shug keep knocking off guys who, even though we think might outright him, can he keep real talking them, taking the crowd from them, and really beating them with viable content, not just gimmicks, not just moving around the stage. I think he could. I think this would be a great matchup that Fonz would even be motivated for. And that's why I think Shug versus Fonz is still a matchup we should consider. And that leads into the second to last matchup here. The number 1 matchup being the battle I think Fonz should take next. But the second, the runner-up matchup is Chess. Fonz versus Chess. I think that this would be a great battle of energy. There was talks that maybe this could have been, people speculated, a battle on SM, and I think Chess had even said that we would have been willing to take Fonz if Fonz hadn't already been locked in with Danny on the card. And I think that this is definitely a great battle that I would like to see. Just creative writing here, very similar to the I think Chess is more of a puncher than people give him credit for. Very similar to the Mac Myron type of matchup. Puncher versus puncher just makes sense. I think Chess is having a horrific year right now, so he's definitely on the down spell. Probably will have to take up-and-comers, mid-tiers, new guys trying to prove themselves. And Fonz has been asking for the smoke with Chess for a while. These are two guys that have some question marks on them, and if they were to get together and have a great battle, which is very possible, they would be motivated, and it would elevate both their stocks, get them both maybe back in the light they want to be matchup-wise. Just think it makes sense to book this. You could book this on pretty much any card, undercard, on a super fight possibly. This could be a main event. And it's just a battle that I would love to see, maybe even before the year is out. And that leads us into the last matchup here, the battle I think Fonz should think about taking next, and that is Fonz versus O-Red. Now, O-Red has come back to URL, and he's definitely taken some more quiet matchups, per se. He put himself in the UM5 tourney, kind of as a surprise entry, and not that him and JC's trilogy third match. It's just a funny battle to get booked. I mean, obviously, he didn't necessarily pick JC, but he entered the tourney, went out the first round, obviously, and then from there went and battled Nun. And I think just battled Wise on Gates of the Garden, heard he cooked up there. So obviously, O-Red is not just focused on certain plates. He's getting work all over the place, really just taking the opportunities that are given. And I think Fonz, this would be a perfect next battle for him to take. First of all, O-Red's pen is extremely respected. And even though O-Red right now might not be the O-Red of old, he's shown flashes in his first JC. I think the whiteboarded prop that he used versus Nun breaking down the entendres, even though that wasn't a quadruple entendre, that was ridiculous. That just wasn't an entendre. But the first half of the gimmick worked and clearly showed good crowd participation. And I think O-Red is a good battler. Is he the champion of the year of 2017? No, I think that type of O-Red is behind him, but the smaller the room, the more he could channel into that. He could give you one of those, blow you away performances. I just think that Fonz right now should be looking for other top tiers, possibly to test his pen. I think that he had a little bit too many of the same name flips versus Dan, the Dan dance, a little bit of reachy stuff. And I think going against other pens like this, maybe a little bit past their prime, but still respected names, it helps you build your catalog. You start becoming battle tested, and you start working on your game and seeing what you can develop on, and before you throw yourself into the Rum Nitty battle, which I know is a battle that everyone wants, before Fonz goes into that, don't go into that. Just do decent. Rum Nitty clears you or beats you badly, and we talk about, but give him time to grow. Grow now and take that battle a year maybe from now, and it's a main event type of battle because you're an established top tier at your best. Rum Nitty is Rum Nitty. The battle makes more sense. It possibly is better, and you have a better chance of winning it. I think O-Red is a perfect pen to test against, and a name that I would have Fonz beating if he went in there. And for Fonz to beat O-Red clear, probably would be the first top tier that he's completely cleared in the 3-rounder. That's humongous. It builds your catalog. People can start referring to your wins, referring to this standout performance versus a former champion of the year talent. I just think that O-Red would definitely be willing to take the battle. I think that it's a name, so it doesn't not make sense for Fonz, and I think it could lead to a W, a standout performance, and learning a thing or two about his writing process. I just see so many pros in the O-Red versus Fonz matchup, and that's why I think that is the next battle Fonz should take in his career. And that will do it for the Fonz Bookem. Like I said, no Rum Nitty on here. I just don't think he is ready for that matchup yet. But as you see, there was multiple top tiers and great talents that I think he is ready to battle. I think Fonz is a good battler. I think the K-Shine and Rum Nitty matchup, 2 matchups he's asked for frequently in his career, I think it's not that far off, maybe a year and a half off. But I want to see him fully prepared and at his best for it. I don't want him just to get it, just to have it on the resume, but he didn't win or he wasn't able to give his best because he simply doesn't have all the tools yet. As I said in the beginning, too, I think that he is going to be a top-tier talent. I think he's right on the cusp. I think Swamp just got graduated into top tier there for me, and I think the Fonz is one of the next names you got to think of in terms of a guy who's ready to take that next step as a frequent marquee talent for URL. Just needs some of these matchups to build up. And who knows, maybe after 1 or 2 of these battles, he finds himself and some of those bigger matchups make sense at an earlier date. But you guys let me know down below, what do you think is the next best matchup for Fonz? Who do you want to see Fonz take next that's on or off this list? Just let me know. Throw it at me. And if you do think he should take Rum Nitty, give me an argument on why you think he's ready for Rum Nitty. Just want to hear some opinions. Is it just because people are excited, or do you have an actual reason that you think that he could snatch that battle? Like, comment, subscribe. Show me some love down below. Like I said, answer a few of those questions. And I will catch y'all on the next one. So it's been J Smo Reviews here, and I'm going to catch y'all on the next one. Peace.